Okay, welcome back to the flight deck. We are approximately 7 to 10 minutes away from departure. Before we can, or not departure, before we push back from the gate. And what we're going to start with is the brief, which is a conversation that I'm going to have with the first officer, in which we basically discuss some basic parameters about our departure and about the flight in general. And I think this all looks right to me, except for the manual departure, which basically means that I'm going to elect not to use autopilot on the way out. I'll be flying the aircraft manually up to probably our initial clearance altitude of 8,000 feet. So let's start the brief.
Ready for the brief?
Go ahead.
This will be a flap 15 takeoff using dry speeds on a dry surface. For the departure procedure, we can expect headings and altitudes as assigned by ATC. As for the packs, we'll leave them on. Regarding the anti-ice, it's not required. For emergencies, in the event of an emergency while taxiing out, I'll bring the aircraft to a complete stop and set the parking brake. I'll ask you to initiate any emergency actions, and I'll tell the cabin to stand by. I'll monitor your actions, and on completion, I'll ask you to inform ATC of our intentions while I do the same with the cabin. If our lives are not in immediate danger, we'll read the checklist. Otherwise, be prepared to evacuate. Okay, for the takeoff safety briefing, from brake release to 80 knots, I'll stop for any significant malfunction or safety-related warning. From 80 knots to V1, I'll stop only for a fire warning of any kind, and engine failure shown by two parameters, one of which must be on the ICAS, a blocked runway, or an unflyable aircraft. We may also stop for a wind shear warning. At or above V1, we'll continue into the air. When stable at V2, we'll raise the gear, disarm the auto throttle, and take full thrust on my command. At 500 feet above the ground, we'll make any diagnosis, but will not move either the thrust levers, fuel switches, or fire handles without mutual agreement. At 1,000 feet AGL, we'll take VREF plus 80 and vertical speed plus 200 to clean up. Selecting level change and max continuous, we'll climb to MSA and consider our options for a landing. Weight's not a consideration today. Any questions?
No.
Departure briefing complete.
Okay, so that was the departure briefing, and now, without further ado, I think we're going to move on to the before start checklist. Basically, there are a series of formal checklists that take place at various stages of the flight. This is the first one in that series. The before start checklist will also have an after start checklist. We'll have a controls check, a before takeoff checklist, an after takeoff checklist, approach checklist, and landing checklist. So let's go ahead and do the before start checklist.
Before start checklist, please.
Windows.
Closed.
Closed and locked.
Oxygen.
It's been checked.
Flight instruments.
Set.
Altimeters.
2, 9er, 8, 3. Set and cross-checked.
Parking brake.
Set to park.
Fuel control.
Cut off.
Passenger signs.
On.
Fuel.
Confirmed. 2.4.9er pounds.
Bugs.
V1, 1, 2, 4, VR, 1, 2, 9er, inner, 1, 3, 9er for the flap speeds. Plus 20 gives me 1, 5, 6, 1, 7, 6, 1, 9er, 6, and 2, 1, 6. We have 1, 3, 0. Bugged for a 1, 1, 3, 0. EFRA. We're set for a full thrust takeoff.
CDU.
Set.
Trims.
0, 0, and 3 units.
Before start checklist complete.
Okay, the before start checklist is now complete, and we are approximately 5 minutes away from pushback, and so I'm going to go ahead and accelerate that process a bit.
Excuse me, Captain. Everyone's aboard, and here's the distribution sheet for you.
Okay, our distribution sheet, which tells us about the number of pillows and blankets and passengers. So,
hi, Captain. Cabin's ready for departure.
Clear to close up. Thanks, and here's the load sheet copy for you.
Okay. So I'm going to get on the horn here for the passengers and welcome everybody aboard.
I'm off ATC for the PA.
Check.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you on board our flight today. We'll be ready in just a few minutes. Just a few late bags to load. We hope you enjoy our flight.
Okay, and go ahead and fasten my seatbelt here. We're going to make, I think, one final ATIS reading here
Los Angeles Airport
to make sure nothing's changed. You can see it has been updated a couple of times. We were at India about 20 minutes ago, and now it's advanced 3 letters to Lima. So that's what we'll report to the to ground when we request our taxi clearance here in a couple of seconds. But you can see nothing's changed. So I think we're ready to request our taxi clearance.
VFR aircraft state direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Lima.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and request our taxi clearance, which will also give us our takeoff runway. So I'll be prepared to enter that into the FMS just in case we guessed incorrectly by randomly assigning 25 right, since that was the first runway mentioned in the ATIS. So let's go ahead and request our taxi clearance.
Los Angeles ground, Delta 557 with Lima, ready to taxi IFR. Delta 557, taxi 2 and hold
We guessed right.
runway 25 right, via taxiway Charlie, Charlie 7 Bravo.
Okay.
Contact tower on 133.9 when ready.
So we have quite a few, quite a complicated route to the runway here, and I'm not going to memorize all that. So I've turned on progressive taxi, which basically just imposes a kind of an artificial magenta line on the runway, and it will guide us to the, or excuse me, on the taxiways. It guides us to the runway. So we're 1 minute away now from beginning the pushback process. Once we get there, we'll probably take a short break and then come back and continue with the pushback.
Okay, he's just giving me the thumbs up over here on our side. You want me to call for the start and push clearance now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ramp control. Jetset 266 is ready for the push and start.
Jetset 266, start and push is approved, go room taxi.
Roger that. Cleared for the push and start. Jetset 266.
Okay, while the co-pilot makes a few last-minute configuration changes, I'm going to turn on the white and red wing collision lights, the beacon. We don't need the logo light on, and we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and push back.